Josh, in the words of Morgan Freeman, I hope this episode goes viral.
I hope. I hope.
I'm Joe.
I'm Josh.
You've got questions?
You're feeling grounded.
Welcome to Feeling Grounded with your hosts, Josh and Joe.
So what we want you all to do right now is subscribe to Feeling Grounded Podcast, like this video, share this video also to any person that might want to enjoy our content. Also, follow us at Feeling Grounded Podcast on Instagram. There you will see the other platforms that Feeling Grounded is a part of, such as Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, and much more. Also, become a patron. On Patreon, Josh and I have lots and lots of content that we genuinely love to put on there. For only $3 a month, you guys will be able to see other content that we genuinely love to put on there.
And leave a comment and a question in the comments, please.
Yeah, guys, we want to start a conversation with you guys. If anything, you guys have questions. That's what our whole motto is about. You've got questions, you're feeling grounded. We appreciate you guys because this is an endeavor that Josh and I started up about a half a year ago. And I love having these weekly conversations with Josh. That's probably one of my highlights of my week each time.
Yeah, it's great. I love it too, very much.
Entertainment. Where's the entertainment, guys?
Get busy living, get busy dying.
Shawshank Redemption.
Yeah.
Which we're talking about today.
You know, this movie frequently sits at, or probably will continue to be at, number one on IMDb's top 250 top films list.
Yeah, number one, baby. And I totally agree. I think this is an amazing movie.
Mm-hmm.
Remember the first time I watched it with my mom. I watched a lot of things with my mom back in around the same time as we were watching Friends. Actually, which is kind of funny. Blew me away. Immediately became my favorite movie of all time.
Mm-hmm. It was a flop at first. Did you know that?
Yes, I did know that.
Yeah,
it was. But after some time, people realized how amazing that this movie is because it's incredible. It's an amazing movie. It's the best, incredible story, the best ending a movie can have. Subverts your expectations. Some of the best acting decisions and casting. Solid. But anyway, so the first time I watched it, it was a made for TV, like a TV version, which was lame because it was commercials and everything was edited.
Yeah.
So it was good, but I didn't get the full picture.
Yeah.
And then a couple of years later, I watched it fully and just, I love it. Love it. So we just watched it recently, you and I.
Yeah.
When you came over.
It was my first time ever seeing it all the way through. And my dad loved this movie, but I wanted to give this movie the proper chance whenever that was, which just so happened to be a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
Just happenstance. So the only movie that I'd seen Tim Robbins in was War of the Worlds with Tom Cruise. Fantastic. Plays this like crazy guy that's wrapped up in his thoughts when I think like his family passed away or something like that. Great actor. Loved Tim Robbins.
He also was in one of the Austin Powers. He was like a president for like 10 minutes.
You're right. He was the president in Spy Who Shagged Me. I didn't even notice. That's pretty funny. And then we also have Morgan Freeman. Yeah. Who is great in any role that he does pretty much. Tim Robbins, Andy Dufresne, he's sentenced to 2 consecutive lifetime terms because of supposedly murdering his wife and lover, which spoilers didn't
her lover, not his lover.
Oh, her lover.
Yeah, his wife and then the wife's lover.
I'm fake spoiling this movie.
Oh.
But he adapts to prison life for starters, and comes out stronger. He provides financial advice for pretty much anybody in there, starting off with guard henchman, his the warden, basically giving all these presents to his friends for free, not thinking too much of himself. He helps the warden embezzle money while hiding a paper trail.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. So he uses that knowledge of the outside world as kind of innocent-minded banker or whatever to assist everybody, and then he becomes the top dog.
Yeah.
He,
Took
benefits
like
everybody.
19 years, but he got it,
Yeah, exactly.
This whole like 19-year plan, it's so crazy. The determination and the resilience, and then eventually escaping to Mexico with his bud Red after using like an alias.
Yeah, that he formulated
Brilliant.
while working with the warden to do all of this, like the sleazy, corrupt money laundering stuff, which he then put into an account of a shadow man, like an invisible person that didn't exist, who he was able to get Social Security for, and like the everything, all information for. And then he just showed up one day and took the money out as this guy, and crazy.
And the thing I love about that character is that he shares, of course, with his inmates, often not taking for himself, whether it be beers with his buddies, getting high school diplomas for certain inmates, or the book, the library.
Yeah, exactly. Where he wrote to the state council or senate or something like that to ask for funds for a grant, which he sent, every week or every 2 weeks or something like that.
Annoyed him so much so that, and he continued out even after getting what he wanted. It was hilarious.
Yeah, well, the first one was like just a check to try to get him off their back. He just gave him like $500 and then some books, and then he kept sending it every week until eventually he got the grant. So then that's when he got the funds to actually rebuild and put in the library. So so he was loving, he was caring, he like wanted to give of himself to the people around him, and that's why he was like so different. And
to add like onto that loving theme, something that really stuck out to me was his ability to take out his reputation in order for helping, basically for the good of his inmates, his friends, because playing that music, that record, so that everybody can hear it, even though he would be locked up in the hole for a certain amount of time, 2 weeks, I think it was, or a month. He said to the other inmates after he was out, I was able to still listen to it because it was still in my head, but I wanted everybody else to hear it.
Yeah.
Crazy. Which leads us into the theme of hope.
Yeah, exactly. Which is everything, especially whenever you're people in prison, is the hope to one day have freedom again, especially when they've been wrongfully incarcerated. Like he was.
With any bit of hope, there comes risk. So many decisions are based on, probability, risks. We base all of our decisions, I think, on risk or probability. Will this movie be good that I'm about to watch? If we watch it, that's what I thought. But maybe subconsciously, like, will the Shawshank Redemption live up to expectations? What's the weather going to be like tomorrow? Will the sun rise tomorrow? Everything's got probability. Some better than others. The sun, which is pretty much bar none, it's going to happen, versus getting struck by lightning.
Yeah, exactly. And that's kind of the wonders of this world is, the joy of that which is unexpected. I think is a beautiful thing and a beautiful gift of being alive and being human, right? Hoping for fun things, and then also just letting caution, whatever, you get it. Shooting the breeze. All right, what am I trying to say? Throwing caution to the wind. That's
either that, or like being carefree, or constantly like nitpicking our own life choices, and then we kind of get stuck. I think that's another theme too. We organize or structure all of our lives this way based on like probability. Things like that have nothing to do with our own choices in a sense. But on the opposite hand, we have to believe that we can affect the world in some type of way. We've talked about nihilism before, but psychologists say that if we lose the belief that we have some impact on this world, or we have control over our lives, it can lead to, depression, lack of motivation. And a lot of those inmates have already succumbed to that, except for Andy. Red tried to get to him.
I feel like a lot of people have this experience today, you know, where they have those things where they feel like they don't have control, and they feel like, you know, they don't really have as much of a purpose as they realize.
Yeah, they have figurative prison walls.
Yeah, exactly. Where they kind of throw themselves in one little place. Maybe they don't have like a big group of friends like outside of their technology or whatever. And maybe their job is kind of dead end. And so maybe they just feel like, well, this is all for naught. And then of course that triggers you into falling inward and kind of losing sight of what life is all about.
Yeah.
You know, and I go through stints of this definitely, especially with the control part. I feel like oftentimes it's like I'm not much of a control freak. Like I'm the type that's very, you know, lackadaisical. I'm sitting in the background knowing that everything will be okay.
Right.
But sometimes, and just in my own life, like the fear of not being able to control myself, or like yeah, that kind of reality that's like, wow, I can't control what's all around me, but can I even control myself in some circumstances when it comes to eating, or comes to technology usage, or comes to being chill or whatever, which then triggers that kind of cycle of like, oh well, it's hard, so whatever, kind of falling inward.
I hear
you know what I'm saying. I'm not being very verbose here, but
well, in Andy Dufresne's case, he could have been at any point led to depression. Same in Red's case, because there were a lot of parallels between him and
Brooks.
Yeah. So like like many of the characters in Red's case, he could have ended up like Brooks. It's the parallels are uncanny, particularly being in the same apartment. But for Andy's case, you know, he took a risk. He gave financial advice to the Clancy Brown, the guard, when he could have been killed. He could have been thrown off on the roof like that. But yeah, the biggest risk, you know, tunneling out of the prison when he could have been caught, or he could have been caught at some point, at any point during those 19 years for tunneling his way out. You know, hope is the ultimate question. I remember seeing a YouTube video years and years ago, and they basically said, like, you know what kills people? Hope. And it was a very compelling and convincing argument, and it affected me for a while. This movie, for lack of a better way of saying it, you know, called me out on some stuff. You know, I think it can call a lot of people out in a good way on some stuff. It could illuminate new chances. Hope can illuminate new chances, new possibilities. And we can still be successful by chance if we have little hope or no hope. We still could be successful. But having hope can make things more certain, or inspire even new hopes.
Well, one of the best movies of all time, I would say. If you haven't seen it, watch it. And then you can kind of break into these themes and the beauty behind the story. And you too will probably fall in love with it.
So for anybody listening right now, this is a heartfelt message to all of you. At the corner of Market Street and Fletcher Street, past the Hinckley Reservation in Ohio, you will find a red broken down Ford. Inside of the driver's seat is a blue lunchbox. Directions to Laguna Madre y Delta del Rio Bravo. There you will find your next steps.
Great.
The future is inevitable, but let's travel back in time.
September 22nd, 1692. This is the last day that there's recorded murders during the Salem witch trials.
Oh.
Okay. So 8 people were killed on this day, and it was the last day recorded. This was like the last point where the Salem witch trials came to an end, which is crazy. If you know anything about that, it was, you know, the town of Salem, where a bunch of people were murdered because they were accused of being witches and practicing witchcraft, which I believe is like, you know, horrible, puritanical, whatever's, but Yeah.
I remember I was in Salem for Halloween quite a few years
Halloween?
ago. Yeah, around Halloween time.
Yikes.
Boston and Salem are pretty good places to be around those times. I remember around springtime, I went on their ghost tours, and our tour guide literally left us, just left us in the middle of Boston. It was hilarious. And we were just like sitting there for like 5 minutes, and then a new tour guide came and just played it off like, it was all part of the plan. Like, no.
Yeah, the tour guy was like, it's my time off. I gotta go. This is it. I'm done. I'm gonna leave these people.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. So on this day, 1692, 8 people were hung.
So September 22nd, 1994. A small time show. I don't really know if you've heard of it. It was called Friends, starring Jennifer Aniston, Courtney Cox, Lisa Kudrow, Matthew Perry. I don't know if have you heard of it. Matt LeBlanc's also in it. David Schwimmer.
Maybe.
It debuts on NBC. But yes, it was highly popular on Netflix. I don't know if it was taken off. Like it had its revival, like any show that is brought back on Netflix, but went on for 10 years, man, from 94 to 2004. It took the world by storm. I know it took my older sister by storm. Like I remember her and her high school friends would watch that quite a lot.
Yeah, no, it definitely did. And well, first of all, Joe, how you doing? But yeah, I watched the whole thing with my mom. We took one because she loved it. You know, she watched it as it was on TV, and so sure she has the whole box set. And so one summer we watched it and kind of binged it, and I liked it. You know, I like it. I mean, I think this is arguments like we were texting before this, and yeah, I think that what you said of how it's kind of drawn out, I totally agree.
Yeah, I saw a few episodes actually in theaters. They put some in theaters, like some anniversary special for a bunch of the episodes, and they did a compilation of like their best episodes. It was a really good time. Don't get me wrong. The comedic timing of and the chemistry of all actors is bar none. Yeah, I think it's a show that's way too drawn out. You know, the Ross Rachel thing. And
I didn't realize that like towards the end, like Joey was involved with that.
Yeah,
never,
in those later like they literally did it, in my opinion, just to draw us to Valkyrie drama. Yeah, plus I'm not a big fan of Ross. I think the guy's just a loser.
I was just gonna say, he was like, I thought he was so funny, but
he's very funny, but I like he's like the butt of like so many jokes, and I'm like, come on.
Yeah, I mean, he is kind of a loser. Yeah, but I guess that's part of the comedy, you know, is that he look at this loser man, look at him saying things and being funny. Like
with Chandler, I think he was my favorite. I love his bar I love his witty humor, sarcasm. Agreed. A lot of people say I am a Chandler incarnate.
Yeah, you kind of are, definitely. I see that. I love how I said kind of and definitely in the same sentence. You kind of are, definitely. But
60% of the time, every time.
Well, there you go. It's a good show. Drawn out, definitely. But the characters are solid, really funny.
I think my love for Seinfeld kind of supersedes it now. I'm more of a fan of that.
That's something I need to watch more of.
It's coming to Netflix on October 1st.
Oh, nice. Okay, good. Now another reason for me to be on computers all the time. But
not computer, man, just on the projector screen that you guys have.
There you go. We'll do it in the evenings. How about that?
It's time for Happy Crappy.
Joe, look. He's building a racquetball court.
Tennis court. It's my garage, and it's a studio, sort of.
He's in the process. Currently, it's late at night, and I think we were originally going to film earlier in the day, but this is what his project.
Yeah, so I was putting it together today. Yeah, and this past week, I took a lot of shelving down. I tore this wall into pieces, ripped off all the old drywall and the pegboard and all this stuff. This wall here, all this, and then I put on new drywall.
So you're trapping yourself in this room until it's done. No food, no water.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, it was Claire. She's a slave driver. So, and then today I painted it, and then I have a little molding right here that goes along it. And then there's a little concrete piece here that I kind of painted poorly, but it's sort of painted. And then I have rubber tiling on the floor. It's kind of gross right now. Let's clean it off. And then the goal, I have lights and stuff like that. And then the goal, Joseph, is I want to, obviously I don't want to look at this gross door. So I'm going to close that off, and then I'm going to close this off so that it is encapsulated. Oh, I'm going to put acoustic foam blocks up here.
Bravo.
Yeah.
Bravo.
Clink. Look at that. Cheers to hardworking men. All you out there who's sitting down watching this video.
Or on the toilet.
It's definitely a possibility.
You have a higher percentage of getting hemorrhoids.
Ooh.
By being in that fixed position for half hour, like in that.
I thought you were going to say something with like the legs.
Maybe.
Like your clotting or something changes. Because have you ever like sat down so long that your legs started to go numb?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I'll tell you what, when I first discovered the iFunny app, do you know this?
Yes.
iFunny?
Yes.
I've recently rediscovered it, and it's a bane to my existence, but because I just been on it all the time. But when I originally got it, it was like, gosh, maybe in high school or college the first time I ever used it. And that was the first time where I was on my phone, like on the can, and I was on it so long that my legs fell asleep, and I was like, whoa, this is probably a problem. like couldn't walk afterwards.
I haven't had the iFunny in like 7 years, so I'm thankful.
Don't get it back. It's not worth it. It just reels you in. I'm trying to quit. I'm the dumb phone is eventually coming. It's supposed to come in the mid October. So
yeah, YouTube is the bane of my existence. While there are great episodes of something out there, too much of it is, it's a little bit too much for me.
Exactly. Feel that. I hate those type of apps where you're just constantly scrolling. You're just scrolling, ad infinitum, like forever.
Yep.
I hate it. Because it gets you in, because you're just going to keep going. You're just going to keep going until eventually your brain's just like, hey, yeah, dingus, you've been doing this for forever. And like, I need something else. And then you're like,
the brain gets tired, but the body, it's still like wired and ready. Like it's a weird contradiction.
Yep.
It kind of messes with your psyche, because you feel like you actually accomplished something when in reality you haven't,
Right. So how was your week, Joe? I talked about my week, but how was yours?
Week was fine. Things are settling a little bit more at work. Again, settling up with worship team has been great. Been practicing, which we didn't really do too much over the summer just because of everybody's conflicting schedules, and that's just how it was. And I enjoyed having that little bit of structure at the end of what did we practice? Thursdays? Yeah, Thursdays. Usually it's Wednesdays. But however, what I've been trying to do is still practice guitar on my own, which has been tough these last 2 weeks for my own personal passion stuff, as well as writing a little bit more and, journaling, because I've tried to pick up that habit from Art of Manliness, but it's eluded me a little bit. And I guess that's still been trying to get used to the schedule that I'm at right now. But that's me. What about you?
Yeah. So, that's good. Yeah. It's always difficult to like try to time management. Like it's like we never have enough time, between work and eating and taking care of yourself and social things and trying to be healthy and all of your other responsibilities that are going on. It's like just crazy to try to like fit everything in. So yeah, that's kind of how my week was. It was a little chill. I haven't really had much of a crazy week, which is a good thing. I really did this a lot. And I worked a lot and did some stuff with my school, some classes that I took. Yeah, it's fine. I've decided that like I find that whenever I have like office days that I tend not to be very productive because I'm just like sitting in my office. So I decided instead of just going to my office and fumbling around on the computer and sending emails and stuff like that, like I wanted to do things more actively. So including some kind of recreation. So say I have an office day, I'm going to go hiking and then just like do emails on my data, like while I'm going around. Or I'm going to go to the library and then do it there, not just sitting in a place where I'm used to just sitting and not doing too much. So
I hear you, man. Sticking in the same place, like if I was constantly doing work at this place right here, or just constantly at my own office, take probably like hours longer.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So it's something to that, changing your location to try to get, more stuff done like this. Great example. How many times can I bring this up? I'm actually so proud of this. Because when it was upstairs, it was A, really hot, and B, which that didn't change, but and B, a little small. It felt very cramped in there.
Okay.
I wouldn't want to like just go in there and get things accomplished. So here it's like a separate place, like it's on the first floor, like it's it's like where I can just like walk over easily and start something. So that's kind of part of the intention, just having like a dedicated space that it isn't also a guest room. Or
it also seems like a lot of space for Eli when he picks up the inevitable instrument for you and him.
yeah he had a lot of fun on the drum set a little bit ago. He was in here and messing around. Which he loves the drum set. He likes the piano. He likes everything. He loves all kinds of instruments.
He's at that point where he's got to find his thing.
Yeah.
Try out new things.
The last night we were listening to lots of music, and I put on some Beethoven and like classical, and then also like Samuel Barber's Adagio for strings, and just like a movement from Schubert symphony. He was loving it and really liking it a whole lot. He was really getting into it, and he's like, my favorite instrument. And we asked him like, what's your favorite instrument? What do you want to learn? And he was like, I want to learn the violin. So that was pretty cool. But the thing is he's like very situational, because we were listening to violins. He was like, I want to play the violin. But like if we were at the piano, he'd say he would want to play the piano.
Yeah.
So hopefully I'm fostering within him a love for music. But because he's going to be very well rounded, because Claire and I listen to everything.
Yeah.
And the single
plus that classical at a early age, he'll have some pretty high SAT scores.
Supposedly, I don't know. Maybe that works. Makes your brain smarter. Mozart makes baby smart.
So happy crappy.
Do it.
I will go with the crappy first.
Okay.
So twice this week I overslept. But I did get to work exactly the same time with absolutely no problem, but it was a weird time to get up because it was me making a choice. Could I make breakfast and then forego some hygiene stuff? Or could I go into the hygiene stuff and then just forego breakfast? It was kind of a weird time. So what did I do? As I was like brushing my teeth and washing my face and doing all that stuff, I called ahead to the breakfast place, and I just hate to go back to the crappy. I hated oversleeping. The second time I'm like, oh crap, because I forgot to set that alarm. This doesn't happen often for Joe. But when it's getting back to a new schedule, then it goes into my happy. I called ahead to a breakfast place right down the road, picked up the stuff, but in my happy, they accidentally gave me 2 sandwiches, which I used on the second sandwich I used for the next day.
Nice.
And nothing was wrong with that day. I overslept on a Wednesday and then on the Friday yesterday.
Well, there you go. How about that? Yeah, I hate oversleeping because you're just like such like in a panic mode to like get the day going. It's nice to like slowly build up to waking up early and all that stuff. Mine Happy crappy. I don't think I need to say what my happy is. But my crappy was, it was this morning. It was kind of a weird morning. My kids were playing in the playroom, and Eli kept asking to play this game that was on the cabinet and on the entertainment center. And it was Mancala. Ever played Mancala before?
No, I never heard of it.
So it's a game that has like all these like glass stones in it. So they're just like stones and pebbles, so you move them around, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And so we kept telling Eli, like, no, you can't play with that because the babies can choke on the pieces if they open it up.
Mm-hmm.
And so Claire and I, we start doing stuff around the house. We're cleaning up. We're kind of organizing. We got motivated to start cleaning right before work. And then we turned around and Eli got into the game. He opened up the box and there's stones all over the place. And John had one in his mouth. And we think we got that one out, but we think he swallowed one. Which was like panic mode because we were like really concerned about it. Because they're like these kind of pretty big glass like pebbles. Right. And we think he swallowed it. But so luckily Claire works at a doctor's office, so she like talked to her doctors about it and said like yeah, it'll be okay. It'll just pass through and then you'll just find it. Maybe in a day or two.
I did not want to be, I would not want to be there for that talk with Eli.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I was very mad.
Yeah.
But I was a good disciplined dad and put him in timeout and sat him down and said, he's got to listen to mommy and daddy because John could have gotten very sick. Could have gotten hurt very badly, which I don't think he will because it didn't get lodged or nothing. So hopefully it's okay. But it was kind of big. I'm like worried about it going through his industrial
in the industrial
tract. So shoot some prayers. By the time this video comes out, I'm sure we'll find out, but I'm sure it'll already passed, but it may never fine. It's okay. It'll be fine. But
it will be fine.
It was kind of an annoying time.
So what we want you all to do right now is subscribe to Feeling Grounded Podcast, like this video, share this video also to any person that might want to enjoy our content. Also, follow us at Feeling Grounded Podcast on Instagram. There you will see the other platforms that Feeling Grounded is a part of, such as Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, and much more. Also, become a patron. On Patreon, Josh and I have lots and lots of content that we genuinely love to put on there. For only $3 a month, you guys will be able to see other content that we genuinely love to put on there.
Leave a comment and a question in the comments, please.
Yeah, guys, we want to start a conversation with you guys. If anything, you guys have questions. That's what our whole motto is about. You've got questions, you're feeling grounded. We appreciate you guys because this is an endeavor that Josh and I started up about a half a year ago, and I love having these weekly conversations with Josh. That's probably one of my highlights of my week each time.
Yeah, it's great. I love it too, very much.
But you've got questions?
Yo, feeling grounded.